All right, thanks, Jackie. Here we're on field three. We are here discussing some cool topics for Black History Month with three lovely young Black directors that I want to talk about some things, roundtable discussions, to get some things together. I'm Theo, if you don't already know. And today we have Adriana, Jacoby, and Michaela with us.
Eight off the mat and go. Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in.
It's time for a water break.
Thank you guys for being here. So the first thing let's do here on a water break is to do a little 32 count, life story. So you're going to get 8 counts from the Dr. B. As soon as you are cued, you have 32 counts to tell us, whatever you want to tell us from beginning to end. And today, I believe Jacoby will start us off, and then we'll go Adriana, and then we'll go Michaela. Cool?
Oh God, here we go. Hi, I'm Jacoby Taylor. I'm from Houston, Texas. I went to Klein Collins. Oh my God, I feel so rushed. This is so exciting. I taught in a lot of places in the Houston area. I'm currently the colorguard director at Pearland High School and also Undaunted, which is an independent organization in the area. There's so many other things. I also teach drum corps. Yay! We love colorguard. Oh my God, I still have so much time. I don't know how to count, you guys. I'm so sorry. Thanks.
You had so much time.
I know, but I panicked. I'm sorry.
No, the metronome will take you there. It'll be like, and it's usually up the time.
I was like, back. I'm on field 3. Back again.
Yeah. On field 3 with no markings. Absolutely. Thank you, Jacoby. All right, next up, Adriana.
Okay, here we go. My name is Adriana. I'm from Jasper, Texas. I am married to my wonderful husband. We have a baby. I currently teach at Springwood High School, and I am the flag tech at Undaunted. Yeah. I've taught at many places. I didn't march drum corps because my mama wasn't letting me go. That was just that, and yay!
Yeah. Listen, real talk. Drum corps, too expensive. They didn't believe in that, so
My mama was
I
like,
get it.
"You're not going there."
No, I get that.
On a bus? Oh no, ma'am. Oh,
For a whole summer with strangers? No, ma'am.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
All right, and to finish this off, we have Michaela.
Hey y'all, so I'm Michaela. I'm from Conroe of the Texas. I went to Oak Ridge High School and I was there for many years and then I graduated. And then I took a step back for a year and then I became the tech there and was the tech for about 5 years. And then I stepped into the director role just this past year, which is super, super exciting. I'm so happy to be back at my alma mater. When I left high school, I went and marched at Spirit for a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Didn't march drum corps because it was too expensive or whatever. And then, I took a couple of years out, worked for TCGC, and then there you go.
Yeah.
I just feel like I didn't get what I needed to say out. Like that thing was just rushing me.
That metronome got me my anxiety started going like, oh my God.
As soon as it starts clicking, you forget that, like, oh wait, like 32 counts is really not all that. It's like a blink and it's over. But that was just a little fun thing for us to kind of, introduce our distinguished panel today. So I invited you guys on today because I wanted to, kind of have like a roundtable discussion about, being a Black director, being a Black young director, color guard director in the field, and kind of where we started, where we are now, and then any little nuggets of advice that we want to kind of give, to people who are who are going to be in our shoes, who want to be in our shoes, because people want to be us, we are the blueprint. And so, boom. Okay. And so my first question is, as we kind of talk about this, is what was your experience growing up, Black in guard? I'll start. For me, I was the only one, and so nothing was ever catered to me. You know what I mean? Like if it was a certain kind of hair or makeup or uniform, they didn't help me out with that kind of stuff. I was kind of like left to my own devices. But I kind of want to hear from you guys. What was your experiences? I guess we'll start with Adriana. What was your experience growing up? Black and in color guard.
Well, I didn't necessarily start color guard until I was a sophomore. I had did dance before. Like I was a dance drill team girl. I That's all I knew. That's all I wanted to do. And I started off at my freshman year. I made the drill team at this high school. And my mom was like, well, you're moving. So sorry. We moved and I started to go to this new school. And I went to the drill team director and I was like, hey, I made the team at such such school. I wanted to see if maybe I could just try out here because, I am new here. Oh, well, tryouts are over. And I'm this like chocolate girl at this white school coming to this lady looking like I'm looking, saying, hey, like I want to try out, like, hey. And she said, yeah, no, but color guard's looking for dancers. And I was like, I don't know what color guard is. All right, I'll go down there. And I went down there and everybody was just so open and, just like, yeah, come on, girl. Like, come on. Yeah, you can do this. And so that really like I wasn't the only one who looked like me. There were other girls who looked like me, but in a school where it wasn't a lot of us that looked like me. So color guard was my safe space. Color guard was like, the uniforms was questionable. This was questionable, but we did it. Like my director, he made sure that like we had the little ponytails. I went and got my little ponytail. Make sure my ponytail matched with everybody. It was very much so, like I had the best experience, and to this day, I appreciate him for that because he did not have to do that. He did not have to make our experience the way that it was, but we did have a great time. And that was just my one instinct where it's just like, well, maybe dance isn't for me. Maybe I can just dance and do color guard. And I learned that color guard is more than just rifle, saber, and flag. It's dance as well, and that's a big part of it. And so that's kind of how I fell in love with it. Was like I picked up equipment. And I was like, okay, like this is cool, but I always had a dance solo. Always,
Love that. Yeah, yeah.
always had a dance solo. So
Love that. So, here, on a water break, with Theo, we name drop here. So would you like to name drop your director and give him a shout out and say thank you for, what he did for you?
my director was Michael Acosta. Shout out to
Word.
you. Ooh, shout out to you. Yes, he always had us in the feathers and the silver lipstick. We had the jewels on. We was cute. We did our thing. And we hated it. We did. I'm sorry. We did not like that. Why did you do that? But at the end of the day, I took my little pictures like I was cute. And I had the best time. And that's how I'm able to give the experiences to my kids that I had because he made us feel like we were the baddest bees out there. And we was not that good. But he made us seem like we was just, and so that's what I take with me every single time I start a new program or every time I walk into a building. I want people to know that they're special. I want to light up.
Absolutely.
So that's my thing is I love everybody.
Yeah,
So
Mike always has his kids done up. I've seen him in the hall with the airbrush and
oh yeah,
the E600 glue. I've seen it, so I get that.
the
Yeah.
glitter, all of it. We had to
Hmm.
peel that off. My mom was like, Mr. And I'm gonna still put it on you because if I don't, mistake, you're gonna get in trouble.
I love that, Adriana. What about you, Jacoby? What are some things that you experienced growing up black in the field?
Yeah, I think I had a pretty similar experience. I was, I mean, I was the only boy for a little bit that was of color, but there was always other boys. And then I was lucky; I marched with both of my sisters, and there
Right.
was a ton.
Right. I forgot.
Yeah,
You
so
came from a
I in
dynasty.
high school was fully submerged with my sisters were around me, and there were other black and brown kids in my color guard. I had black and brown staff members the whole time. Like Tiffany Quinones was my color guard director, but I always William Martin was there, and
Mhm.
Ray Wingett was there, and so I saw other people who were black and brown all of the time, and doing things at the highest level. And so I think that for me is I spent a lot of my early years seeing people that looked like me do color guard at the highest level and do the thing and be really successful. So I never felt like there wasn't a place for me. Like then they made sure my hair looked right. They'd be like, "Little boy, you're getting a little nappy. You gotta go get a haircut." And things like that. They just like they made sure I looked right. Like it was everything. If hair went out, there was hair for the girls. There was hair for the girls of color. There was hair for me. There was hair for everything. Like everything was thought out like all of the time for us. And so I think that I was lucky, and I think Adriana too, lucky to have experiences like that because I know that it's not like that everywhere. And like you were saying, you were the only one, and I can't even imagine what that was like. And it was just fully submerged in the thing all the time with people who looked like me and were doing the same thing as me.
Yeah.
That's completely awesome. I love to hear that because so often that I feel like I hear my story a lot more than often, and not so much like, oh no, 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 girl, we came in there and they said, hey, I know what 4C is, I know what sunscreen is, I know what that is. You know what I mean? I know how to get mocha tights. You know what I mean? Like that's so crazy because I always hear the other side of that story. So and that was just my story as well. But like I hear the other side of that so often. But it's kind of refreshing to hear like hearing that from you guys as well. That's
You know,
awesome. And what about you? Oh,
I
go ahead.
will say though, I'm sorry. I will say that that I do experience I experience, the great part of it, but that dance world is totally different. And
They're a little behind, yeah.
yeah, that's where it became like, I think I have a picture of me in these white ass tights that did not match, and I'm black, I'm dark, I'm a chocolate girl. I was even more chocolate back in the day because I was outside. I had these white ass tights on. I mean, now I was looking good, but it's just, like there was no diversity for us or for, and like I said, I don't want to get into that because that dance world is something different. But when I came to color guard, that's where I felt most accepted, most like I was at home with the people that appreciated me. It was just so different. So,
Absolutely. No, like we can do a whole nother episode of the dance
oh,
world.
I
They're a little
know.
behind. As a male teacher, they're still kind of behind just being a male in the dance world, but not so much in color guard. Color guard, you see everything. You see everything. And so, I try and tell my dance ladies at my school as well, like, quick story. And then what you did too, Michaela. They asked me yesterday, they had a girl who was an officer last year. She's a black girl, maybe like that's only one on the team. Two of them, there were two on the team. She was going to an HBCU, and they were like, we want to go see her. Both the dance directors are white, and they were like, can we ask you a question? I was like, yeah, like, do you think we can go see her in college perform? And I was like, oh, is she going like out of country? Where's she going? Like, oh no, she's just going to an HBCU. Like, would they let us in the door? Like, because we're white? And I was like, oh, baby girl, we don't do that. Like, but they were so serious. And I mean, I was like, oh, that's not real. Like that, but it's like you said, it's so kind of behind the times in the dance world because it's so traditional sometimes. But that conversation was last year, by the way. That's not a 10 years ago conversation. That was a conversation last year. And so, dance world, get with us, girl. You know what I mean?
Give it
But
the times, baby.
give with the times. All right. What about you, Michaela? What was your experience growing up in the field?
I think it was a little different because I joined in the 7th grade. So, like, My sisters were in it before me, and like, they would leave on Saturdays and I get left at home, and I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, why am I here by myself? So then I joined Color Guard, and it was me and my older sister, and then there were two other sisters in the program that were black. And it was, I feel like it's one thing to, for other people to make you feel like you're black, but like it's another thing for you to know that you're like the few that are black, and then the rest of them are, Caucasian or, Latino. So like that experience was a little different for me because nobody ever made us feel out of place, but like if we were listening to music, or like if we just wanted to stay by ourselves, somebody always had to comment on that, and it was like we could never just be in our own moment without somebody being like, oh my gosh, they're doing this over there, or why are y'all sitting by yourselves, you're segregating yourselves. Like it was something along those lines. And I mean, like, my first director never made us feel like we were different, or like we were wrong for wanting to go over here and listen to music and act the fool in the corner. Like, it was our moment, and we were by ourselves, like doing those things, and like we were fine with that. But then like there were people that were commenting on that, and then after they decided to leave the program after my first director left, it just seemed like it was me and then like maybe two other black girls, like if I got lucky, you know? And I mean, like, I don't think anybody ever directly tried to make me feel secluded, or me or any of those other girls. But like when people feel the need to say, oh, hey, girl, we turned off the lights, where'd you go? Like, little like things like that, like never directly like I want to attack you, but like the inadvertent attack, you know and just growing
Listen, we
up.
can do a whole episode of microaggressions, a whole
Okay,
episode of
that
color guard
whole
microaggressions.
episode.
So yeah,
After
we'll
my
make that
first
part
director left,
17.
he was the one that we had for a season. He was fine, but like there were little things that he would do that would kind of like that are questionable to me as an adult now. Like he would airbrush us, and it seemed like whenever he got to the black girls, it seemed like he was playing a guessing game. Like, and if we were being airbrushed, he would go from the lightest to the darkest. So we were always the last ones, and it just seemed like there was never like a fight to be like, I'm going to figure out what your color is. And it just seemed like he was guessing every single time. Like I literally saw him drop black into the airbrush, like the color black. And then, like, and I don't think anybody ever does those things like purposely, but like it's the inadvertent thing. And then like as a child, you don't really acknowledge it. But then when you're an adult and you're teaching your own kids, you're like, what can I do to not give them the same experience for them to come back like 5 years later to feel that way? And I mean, like, even
Mhm.
after he left, I had my last director here at Oak Ridge. And I mean, like, he was amazing. Like, he never made me feel like I was different, or me or any of those other girls. The few that we did get in between, like, we never felt secluded from the rest. And he always did his best to make sure that we had everything that we needed. Like, we had the pretty things, the pretty costumes, the makeup, and the eyelashes. And he always did his best to make sure that we looked beautiful and that we felt beautiful. And I mean, he would always tell us before we performed, he was like, you're more beautiful than you could ever imagine. And hearing those kind of things growing up, when you grow up thinking that you're ugly and you hear those things from somebody who's actually saying it like with their chest, you start to believe it. So, like, I wouldn't say that my experience growing up was bad, but when you look back as an adult, you're like, wait a second, that was questionable. Like, did that really happen?
Right. Right. So, like, kind of going off what you just said there, kind of like how we are looking back now, how do you think, and we can start with you, Michaela, again. How do you think, like, growing up with that experience, how do you think it's shaped you as a director today? Like, how do you look at your experience, good, bad, or ugly, and how has that kind of, directed you to be the director you are today?
I think when I stepped into my role as the director, my first general like anxiety moment was I never want to be responsible for ruining a kid's experience. I never want to be
Ooh, ding,
responsible.
ding, 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 ding. Oh, 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 oh. Ah, there we go. Okay. I need 8,000 of those because, God, that's my biggest fear.
I never want to
I
be
understand
the
that.
reason why they're looking back as an adult and they're like unpacking trauma and they're like, what did she say to me? Like, I never want to be that reason for them. And I think I just think about things like in general, like when I was shopping for their makeup during the summer. Like, I brought a palette, I went home and tested it on my skin, then tested it on my friend who happened to be Caucasian, and then I tested it on another friend that was brown skin. Like, I tried to make sure that everyone was accounted for. And even like with lipstick, like I didn't buy their lipstick. I said, this is too hard of a range to match. I said, you go out and you buy something that feels good on your lips. Because I remember wearing lip shades that just felt,
Hmm.
when you put on lipstick colors and it just feels like, do I really look like that? Like you got to edit the picture, add some little color in there and stuff like that. Like I never want to be I tell my kids I'm going to do the best that I can to give you the best experience that you can possibly have. And it's little things like looking on like the few African American people that are within the program, like giving them experiences that I didn't have when I was growing up. Like one day I recorded myself and they were band kids. There were three band kids and they wanted to lay my edges down. And I don't ever remember having an experience like that, like having somebody in a role that looks just like you and they identify with those same things that you do, and they can come to you and say, hey girl, like can you help me with my hair? Like I don't know how. Like I never had that. Like it was me and my sisters, and then like when they quit it was just like, okay girl, like I gotta figure it out by myself. Like I just think my experiences growing up, because they were all like three different parallels between the three like directors that I had, I learned that there's a way that you can get kids to produce without demeaning them, without being mean to them or just calling them out of their names or just doing crazy things. Like, I mean, I'm not acting like I don't turn up. Like, I'll turn up in a second. But like,
Oh, baby girl, let's be clear. Yeah,
let's be
let's
clear.
be
I will
clear.
turn up on you, but I will tell you the exact reason why I am doing that. I'm going to give you feedback and say, like, no, girl, this is rep 5 of you doing this. I said it was on 6 of you doing it on 4. Like, I just
Hmm.
try to never be responsible for ruining their experience. Like, I don't ever want them to look back and be like, Miss Banks was crazy, y'all. Like, did you hear what she said to me last night? Like, I never want to be that person for them. I always want to give them a positive experience. And sometimes that keeps me up at night. Like, am I doing all the things right? Like, am I making the right calls for them? Should I have done this differently in rehearsal? And I mean, like, year one, I'm doing my thing or whatever. But like, I never want to ruin their experience. I don't want them to look back and unpack trauma as an adult at 20 and they're in a room with five other people and they're like, oh, yeah, my director said this to me when I was 12. Like, I don't want to
Right.
do that.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know, we've talked about this before, but I think one of the coolest things that you said today that kind of struck with me is that like I've never thought about this way, but like I've never wanted to be the reason that kids are in the bathroom at a show wiping off their makeup and dragging the director. I never want to be the reason why kids like I'm not returning back this year because I didn't feel, and the word I think of is like safe. Like I always think about creating a safe space for like every kid, my 504 kids, my black kids, my kids who don't even speak English, my kids who have physical disabilities, all those kind of kids, like it's a safe space for everyone. And I guess that's the same thing in a different font that you said, but like I really love the way you said it being like, I need everyone, whether you love color guard or not, and you did it for a year or two, you didn't like it, you want to move on. At least your experience with me and the program felt good. You just wanted to go do water polo, whatever that, you know what I mean? Like, and I've had those kids who will do literally 3 years and be like, my senior year, I don't want to do anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine. Like, and I don't kind of take it as a personal attack. They always feel like I had a great time and they send me their letters and their graduation invitations. And they just say, I just wanted to go a different direction. And I always really kind of appreciate those things. So it's really, I'm going to put that in my book of like, my philosophy as a teacher, which is basically, making sure that every kid has the best experience they possibly can in the field. You know what I mean? Thank you, Michaela. Thank you. That was awesome. What about you, Jacoby? How has your life growing up, perfect, beautiful, gorgeous in the field, shaped you now as a director?
Well, I think for me, and you guys know this because you've taught in other places in Houston. Houston is so diverse and the kind of kids that you get. So my first teaching experience, I had no black or brown kids or anything like that. It was predominantly white kids. And so that experience is so different than when I was teaching of only Latino kids, or now at Pearland where I've got the full spectrum of kid, and you'll see anything there. So I think just it's literally exactly what Michaela's saying. Like always making sure that like everyone feels like they're a part of the thing and that it is our safety place. Like it is where we can all live and exist and never feel like we are the odd one out, which in reality we're all just a bunch of oddballs throwing things in the air. That's
Yeah.
what's crazy about it. But I think it's that it's like even now to this day, like if I'm gonna send out hair and makeup, it's the exact same thing. My sister literally does the makeup for my kids, so like it's going on someone who is of their skin color, and then we are making sure that it works for everyone. Hair, everybody's getting their hair, and this is that. Something that we didn't get to grow up with is like the color of gloves, like that kind of thing. Like, oh, do you want to
Yeah.
buy mocha gloves because they got them now? So I think that's totally so like there's so many things that are so cool that are happening now, and that we get to like make sure that we're like not I don't want to say I don't know what the right word is, but we're just
Say
like
it.
we're getting to be a part of making sure that the kids get to have the experience that we all like I did have, and that I'm so glad I had, and be that person for kids. But also just like I'm gatekeeping their happiness. It feels like I'm like
Hmm.
I don't want you to not be happy ever, like in everything. And so it's just like that, those kinds of things. And every day we think about them. There's not a day that we can go through something. Like we literally got the costumes at Pearland yesterday. Shout out. We got the costumes yesterday, and we're like, there's so many things that we're looking at. Like, where, okay, now we have to change the hair. Where are we doing here? What are we doing this? Da, 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 da. And it's a constant thing. How do we make the kids feel great in everything that we do? And so I think that's just like exactly what we're all saying. It's just like we care so much about the safety of everything for every person. And that is something that I experience always, but that not everybody gets. And so building a program, even at Undaunted, it's the same kind of thing. Like we're seeing every kind of kid in that program. And that's the whole, it's that same exact thing. And as we go out, and Adriana will tell you, like there's so many kids now that are directors, and we're going to their schools and like helping them do all the things. And it's those little conversations that I can talk to you all day about design and this and that, but like, how are you doing this and making sure that all the kids feel this way? And those are the things, or everyone's having a great experience. And that's, yep, I don't know. It's so crazy. So crazy.
No, I honestly love that with the whole like, where we are now as like as a community in terms of like color guard. No excuse for directors not to know what to do at this point. It's like, listen, pick up a book. If you go on, most people sell gloves of all kind of shapes, tights of all kind of shapes, shoes of all kind of shapes. I don't need to see no black girls and no white tights. I don't need to see it. There's no excuse now. You know what I mean? There's no excuses now. We are not left to dye our own tights. We are not left to tape our own shoes. You know what I mean? Like, and so when I see that stuff, I'll be looking like, like Michaela said, a red lip is not a red lip on everybody. You know what I mean? A blue eyeshadow is ashy on black skin. You know what I mean? There's some, and we can do a whole another segment about hair, makeup, and costuming. You know what I mean? When it comes to, amen. And the church says amen. We can do a whole episode about that because there are some tricks that we all probably know that we either one lived through, and two, kind of how we are now, how it, how we know, okay, I know I need to avoid this makeup brand because it's chalky, we look ashy. Or I have never bought a lip in my life. Like I say, kids, get your best red because, a red on deep skin versus a red even on a medium tone skin are two different reds. Like we may look like, Miss Piggy with the red because it's pink, but it may look like a deep red on the, you know what I mean? Like, and so that's really awesome. I like that.
Oh, yeah, phone a friend, girl. Phone a friend. Call somebody.
Phone a friend. What's funny? And there's so many of us now. They're so visible. We just have a select few right now on this call, but like, there's so many of us. Like you said, like phone a. I had to ask a friend because I had a chesty girl a couple of years ago, and I was like, how do I help her? You know what I mean? Because I'm not putting her in like the thick strapped costume and make her look different from everyone else. Like, how do I help a chesty girl? I pick up the phone, you know what I mean? And so I still didn't know how to do short hair for white girls. Believe it or not, sorry. I was like, what do I do? Do I just put them in a headband? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And so, like, if I could pick up the phone and ask how to do type one Bobbiana hair, then y'all can pick up the phone and tell, black girls, hey, I always tell my black girls, get braids in the fall. You know what I mean? Were you braid girls in the fall, Adriana and Michaela? I always tell my black girls to get braids.
All year long, honey.
I'm a different type of girly. I have a sew in during the summer, baby. I gotta
No.
have a bust down side part. I gotta have the hair.
No.
And you're lucky it ain't in right now. It's during the week. I'm only that person on the weekends. It's during the week.
That's
I got the little
hilarious.
slick back, the little middle part slick back boom. The little mommy's tired, okay?
Yeah.
Tired. Okay.
I love that. Okay, cool. So I guess the last thing I kind of want to send this off with is to kind of like, maybe send out some, little nuggets of wisdom to the community out there, Black community, whether they be performers or current directors or those who want to become directors or just like anybody out there kind of in this activity, how they can support people who look like us or, things like that. Is there any little nuggets of wisdom you want to leave with us? Adriana, do you want to start us off with that?
I just say be yourself. A lot of us go into these spaces and we feel like we can't be ourselves. I am myself, and Jacoby can vouch, and I have a ton of people that can vouch. Theo, you can vouch. I am myself
Of course.
wherever I go. Okay, I'm always gonna be myself. I'm always gonna be me. And I don't think that I knew that in the beginning. I didn't have that much confidence in myself in the beginning when I first started teaching because like I said, I was a dance girl before and I kind of just got pushed into starting a program. I didn't know anything about teaching color guard or anything. Like it was just like my old band director called me from the school that I graduated from and was like, hey, you want to be the color guard director? And I was like, yeah, I guess I'm not doing nothing. I mean, didn't ask how much it paid. Just knew that like, okay, well, this is a new adventure that I want to take. And as the years have gone by, I've gotten more stronger and more confident in myself and being able to stand up for myself and always just like kind of being scared of being the angry Black woman, like, but
That's a
somebody
whole nother
told me,
episode too. Yeah.
and somebody told me, why can't you just be an angry woman? Why we gotta put the color in it? Why can't we just be angry? Women get
Mhm.
angry. I am going to get upset, but I am going to let you know how I feel. I think that everybody's feelings are valid. And just having conversations and being in different spaces with people, I make sure they know I'm Black. Me and my kids have done, our Black history things or our Black history, what do I call it? My Black history whatever's for the month, just saying like different Black people, like this person invented this, and things that I didn't know that they didn't know, because right now I teach predominantly Hispanic kids. They don't know nothing, but telling them and letting them know, like, they want that. They want the Black history facts of the day. They want to know more about me. They want to ask me questions about how I grew up and how this and how that. And I'm that director that you can come talk to me about anything. So when they ask me about how I grew up and where I came from, I tell them. So I'd say push forward, keep going, because we have to insert ourselves in these spaces or nobody else will. Like nobody's gonna hand you anything. You gotta get out there and get it and make people want to say, oh, I want Adriana, oh, I want Jacoby, oh, I want Michaela, oh, I want Theo. Like those are the things. Like, and if you're yourself, if you're authentically yourself, people will accept you regardless. So that's my love. That's my love. That's my love. Sprinkle, sprinkle. That's it.
I love the sprinkle lady on TikTok.
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Sprinkle sprinkle. All right, what about you, Jacoby? What are some nuggets you want to leave to the youngins out there?
Yeah, I think it's the same kind of thing. The sky's the limit. Like no one. If you all of you knew me when I was 13, and nobody could tell me nothing. And at
Well,
26,
still can't. Still
at
can't.
26,
Can't tell him nothing.
I feel the
Whenever
same.
we deal with him, I can't tell him nothing.
It's I just, if you want something, then you have to go get it, and if to the people in the space, and you have to be present, and you have to just want it, and nobody could tell me nothing. Like, I'm so eager to learn all the time, and so many people are. You just got to be ready to do it, but you can't let anything hold you back, and that being your ethnicity or anything along those lines, and just fighting for what you want. And to the people who want to be present and part of that, allow them and embrace them with open arms. And to the people who are getting in your way, then let them go. And you keep on rocking. And I think that's the thing. Everyone here in this group, like, we've all known each other for a very long time, and we've watched each other grow, and been present the entire time. I have vivid memories of us sitting in the stands at the beginning of February and being like, yes, cheering for everyone. Yes.
But even on that, I was just want to say, I think we all, I'm sure, because I'm unapologetic when it comes to this. I am very Issa Rae, root for everybody black. If a black girl has a solo in the show, I'm on my feet. I'm screaming, yes, black girl. I didn't watch Adriana, but I did watch Jacoby, and I did watch Michaela. Michaela, you know I stand you from years ago. I was like, that black girl can catch true pour. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm talking
Two
about?
turns, the two turns.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So if you have sat in a show with me, you know how ignorant I can get when I see a black girl on the floor throwing micro braids. When I see a black girl on the floor who just looks good, who demands the floor. I think, ask Tatiana. I couldn't get enough of her last year. Like, there's so many. Like, if you sat next to me in a show and I say they could just walk out and do 3 jazz walks, and I'll be like, okay, black girl, okay, you know what I mean? And so I definitely, like you said, I, as someone who is, your senior, because I'm in this middle old, I'm in the Tiffany, Cindy,
A little older.
yeah. And so it's been really fun kind of watching, a lot more color escorting, like, teams, and not even just teams, but like high quality teams. Like, Jacoby, you are a director of a couple of things. You know what I mean? And it's so cool to see someone dark skinned. I think I said this on the podcast before, but like, last year, Michaela marched TCI. And do you remember the story, like, when we were at that show? And I wasn't on staff; I was just hanging out with y'all. And y'all came up to me, you and the other 3 or 4 black people on the team, and were like, "Hey, can you walk us to the show? And can you walk us on the floor?" And I was like, "Why?" And you're like, "We just want a black person on staff to kind
With the
of
culture.
be representation and walk." Yeah, for the culture. And I was like, "Oh, I'm not in charge of that. You need to talk to your director." And so they literally pulled him aside, and I was like, "Hey," it was so serious too. And Caleb was like, "Yeah, of course we love Theo." And so I literally walked on the floor with them. I didn't know anything about what was going on. Didn't clean one flag. Didn't clean one gun. But they were like, they just wanted to see me with them, and it was such a cool experience, because I thought to myself, that's never happened before. Do you know what I mean? And I walked on the floor, and people were like, "Oh, you work with them?" And I was like, "No, but like, they want me here." And half of the girls didn't even know me. Michaela knew, but other girls didn't know me. But they were like, "He's dark skinned. He looks like me. I want to see him. I want to see people who look like me on the staff." And so I love that. A lot of staffs nowadays, especially in the Houston area, like the undaunted staff is very dark skinned. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of color everywhere, and I just love to see it. You know what I mean? But yeah, Michaela, what about you? Do you have any nuggets of wisdom you want to shoot to the kids out there as an old lady now?
Yeah. As I tell my little kids, don't dim your light. Don't put the little shades on. Don't do that stuff. Like, don't be afraid to be you and to be loud and proud in who you are and stand on your own 2 feet. Like, you are fine just the way that you are. Like, you're here for a reason. You're living and you're breathing and you're taking up space. Like, be big, be who you are. Like, don't try to change yourself to fit into a crowd of people who you don't even know, or people who you probably won't talk to in XYZ years. Like, live your life and be you. And especially in this universe where there's so many of us and we all have so many different things to offer. Like, just don't do that. Like how I tell my kids, don't be afraid to be big and be proud. Like, you are fine. You don't need to hide yourself or try and do something different because is in the gym today. Like, girl, what? Like,
Yeah.
keep your space. Don't be afraid to spin and be wrong. Like, I was doing stuff, wasn't doing it correctly, but I was just doing it at one point in my career. Like, don't be afraid to sit and take things after school, or don't be afraid to like put that little dirt patch in your mom's yard. Like, do the things, love color guard and be proud of who you are and what you have to offer, because we all have something to offer that's completely different. And what I have to offer isn't different, is different from like what Jacoby has to offer or what from Adriana has to offer. Like, we all offer something different and it's all good. So be you, be bold, be beautiful, be black. Black is proud.
I I love that. I think to sum it all up from what we discussed just now, basically, be loud, be black, be proud of yourself, be you, be unapologetic, be powerful, be beautiful. All that stuff can all exist, you know, for the younger generation coming up. And I really love that because I don't think I ever heard those words being told to me growing up, as a black performer. And so it's really cool. Even like hearing it now, I'm 34 years old, and I'm like, I'm inspired just by talking to you guys as those who can you just boom those who just got their training wheels taken off. You know what I mean? You guys are like doing so much in our little small corner of TCDC where we kind of all teach. You do so much more. You know me, I'm so quick to hashtag Black Excellence under your post where got third place at a regional or something like that. I will always root for the Black girls, and so I'm so glad you guys are here to discuss some things. And I would love to have you back. We would love to have you back, and we can talk way more in depth about some more other things like that. But as we wrap up, I just kind of want to give everyone an opportunity to kind of check you guys out some more, follow you, so we can go starting with Adriana. Where can we follow you at, homegirl?
On Instagram, I think my name is Adriana_Hafford, very bland. Facebook, my name is Adriana Hafford as well. And I don't have a Twitter or anything, so.
Awesome. What about you, Jacoby? Where can we find you?
Oh God, what's my Instagram tag? I'm on Instagram, at JacobyXD, I believe. And then
That sounds right.
yeah, there you go. That sounds right. Facebook, Jacoby Taylor Centimore. Also, shameless plug, Pearland High School. Undaunted, shameless plug. Check us out. Check us out.
Wait, how come my team and your team just followed each other like a week ago? What is going on? Did I make a new account?
That's children. I don't run that.
Me either, but I saw it and I was like, Pearland, that's my backyard. How come we are not friends with those girls? But we are friends now.
I was about to say, that's another podcast episode as well of the children running the social media.
Oh, listen. We'll have y'all back. We'll have you back next Monday, next Friday, the week after that, February 29th. You know what I mean?
Have so much to talk about. I can talk all day.
Okay.
I love that. All right, and Michaela, where can we find you at home, girl?
Michaela_Brianna. That's my Instagram. Make sure you spell it right, because I'm extra Mikaila. Not the other way. Not the other way. Then you can find me on Facebook at Michaela Banks. There's a picture of me like this in front of the Coliseum.
This is a podcast, girl, not a TV interview. We couldn't see that, but can you describe in detail what you look like?
Yeah, just describe it, please.
Hands up in the air right before you go to Susie's Sunshine, right before we burst up out of that. That's where I'm at. And, a bad forced arch too.
A bad forced arch. Oh, I honestly, I love you guys. This has been great. I would love to do this again. If you guys out there are listening and want to hear these lovely people again, let your local congressmen or women know that you want to hear more Black voices. And if you don't do that, that means you are trying to silence Black voices. And that's what we're doing this month. Okay. So, again, thank you guys so much for being here, for all your wisdom. I look forward to watching you continue to grow and be such strong influences in the younger community as color guard directors. You guys are amazing. I can't wait for the future for everyone. So thank you guys for being here, and we are going to shoot it back to the good field, back to Jackie. Thanks, Jack.
The
On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Ream. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lida. To learn more, visit lidamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.